Mrs. Moon, wow, you haven't changed at all. Must be some kind of witchcraft or something.
It's a puzzle box. There's something inside. You work so hard. You should get married. Find someone with a nice inheritance like my son Edward. Now, acupuncture. Edward is dead.
So sorry.
When you and Edward were kids, your parents and I made a pact. They promised you and Edward to each other. Husband and wife. A mother can't provide everything, but you could.
I can't move. Mrs. Moon, I'd like to get up. Mrs. Moon, let me out! Mrs. Moon!
The best husbands are dead husbands.
This is Minsun Park and Teddy Tenenbaum, directors and writers of the short film Koreatown Ghost Story, starring Margaret Cho and Lyrica Okano. This is Minsun.
Hi. So I think I'll talk a little bit more about how we came to write Koreatown Ghost Story and the influences behind it. Growing up in a Korean American family, ghosts were very much a part of our, daily life. Well, maybe not so much daily, but regular life and our cultural beliefs. For example, Chuseok, which is a kind of a Korean Thanksgiving, where we honor the ghosts of our ancestors by feeding them. And we would set out a banquet and food. And when I was a little kid, having a special table with pictures of my grandparents set out always gave me the creeps, actually. Just this idea that we would set out grandpa's favorite sake and favorite meal, and going to bed that night I'd have nightmares that maybe my grandfather was out there partaking in a meal. So it was actually really frightening for me as a little kid. And then later on, when I was a teenager, my cousin in Seoul, Korea, had a tragic accident at the age of 26. She was going down a flight of stairs in her apartment building in Seoul, South Korea, and the banister broke off and she fell 3 stories to her death, like 2 weeks before her wedding day. So my aunt, her mother, was understandably devastated by the death of her oldest daughter. But over time, she began to believe that her daughter's ghost was haunting her and coming to her at night, crying and just, wanting something from her. And she consulted, I think it was a shaman or a mudong in Korean culture, who told her that her daughter's ghost was kind of a hungry ghost, a restless spirit now, because she had died before becoming married. And in a lot of Asian cultures, Korean, but in many Asian cultures, because of Confucian beliefs that if you die without getting married, you die without leaving ancestors behind to honor your spirit, and to give you offerings when you die during Chuseok. So this was a serious thing. So she found another male spirit who had died before getting married, and there's a matchmaking industry, so they did a ritual and they joined their spirits in the afterlife. And after that, her spirit was laid to rest. So this story, understandably spooked me when I was a kid, and that became the inspiration for Koreatown Ghost Story. But beyond just telling that particular culturally specific story, we wanted to, tell a story of the Asian American experience. This happens to be supernatural, but the ghost is a metaphor for Asian American immigrants and how we feel trapped between worlds. We're not really part of, mainstream Western culture, and we're also not part of our country of origin. We're just sort of in between, like ghosts.
Minsun and I have been married for many years, and she's a Asian American and also Korean American immigrant, and our children are Asian American. So we really wanted to tell an Asian American story, and we are also saddened to see so few Asian American stories in entertainment, in American entertainment these days. It's finally starting to change. In the past, all of the well-known Asian horror stories were actually set in Asia, originally imported from Asian entertainment and either shown in America as foreign films or remade with white characters. That includes movies like One Missed Call and famously The Ring and Dark Water, starring Jennifer Connelly. The one probably exception to that is actually a film that I worked on, or film series I worked on, which was The Grudge, where at least that was set in Japan. So the characters were both Japanese and white, but not Asian American. And we're gratified to see that that's finally changing. In fact, what's happening now with Hollywood's interest in diversifying not only the audience but the creators is that people of color and immigrants in America and their descendants are finally getting to tell their own stories for American audiences, and it's proving to be successful, which is really the only thing that Hollywood cares about in the end, is the money that comes from these. So we are happy to ride that wave as long as it lasts, and hope that what it does is creates enough popular entertainment that about these groups in America that in the future it's no longer a question of what the commercial reach is, that these are just part of the fabric of American entertainment, and immigrants and people of color in America finally get to tell their own stories. And of course, ghost stories and horror movies is a great way to open the door to that, since it's popular entertainment in its most pure form. So it'll reach the most people.